didn't go. Alexis did not go to Baba's uh, just randomly and go knock on the window because they were closed. She
No.
ordered DoorDash. They messed up the order. Alexis and her boyfriend decided to go to save some money. They decided to go pick up the order. Order was wrong. They go back to the window. Initially, they ignore them. Then the employee comes up there and says 1 minute. So her and her boyfriend assume that they're going to correct the order. So they're sitting there chilling. Meanwhile, the employees have called the police and said that somebody is threatening with a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Officer Perez and Carlton come already ready to
Mm-hmm.
confront someone who has a gun.
Mm-hmm.
And when Perez reaches into the car, as we see in the footage, now you said it was keyless entry, which is a great point because they also say, and again, it's sad that this stuff has not been cleared up in the media because they say
And they
he's
don't
reaching
choose to
into.
do so.
It's a shame. They say he's reaching in to grab her keys, but
He's
they
really trying to snatch her out. And but where is she going to go? Because literally there is no space, sir.
yes.
And she told you she wasn't dressed. Why are you touching her? And there's a woman right there. Now, contrary to that, as you see, you didn't see she was naked. You see she's got something on. She's got on
Right.
like a sports bra and a little bitty shorts and some
Right.
her robe. She went like she was going to bed.
Anybody with common sense, when she says I'm naked, it don't mean that she was naked. So,
Yeah, but you know how people like to use that literally because she should have complied, right? She should have got out.
well, you know the thing about it, Kara, is that and that's why I wanted to talk to you because the context. Her getting out is very difficult because they're in a drive-through and the officer's standing there.
And that little yellow pole thing is there.
So all he needed to do was, if he wanted her to turn off the car, if it's push start, you could just push the button to turn the car off.
Yes.
So, because I went through the official state's attorney report and I
Mhm.
and I read through it a couple times and
And
it's
how do they say they can't see? They said they cannot ascertain whether or not Officer Perez struck Alexis. Now, you're supposed to be the biggest and the best and the brightest, and you can't see what we can see? Well, somebody get that person some glasses because we can all see that she was punched, but you said you can't tell.
well, Cara, let me ask you a question. When they ask Alexis to get out of the car, right? They commanded
Mhm.
it, but what were they? Has anybody told you what the police were expecting her to do as far as getting out of the car? Because I don't see how she would have physically got out of the car.
I no, not at all. Not at all. There's no answer for that.
Because when you read through it, it says, the officer had commanded her to get out of the car, but physically, it's not like a
It
traffic
was
stop.
impossible.
It doesn't seem possible. So the only
And
way she
he's
could have got
like
out of the
he's
car.
like 300 pounds. So like there's no way she and he would fit in that space.
I'm no police officer, but no police officer would tell a passenger to get out of the car if the passenger has to squeeze against them to get out. That in and of itself would create danger for the officer if the officer didn't know. So the only way for her to get out of the car, from my view, would be that she would have had to get out on the passenger side.
Mm-hmm.
That looks to
Or
be
let
the
her move the car up.
or let her move the car up. So it's
But see, there was no patience at all. There was no discussion. There was no, okay, ma'am, what's the matter? There was no nothing. And all this time they're there and she's thinking that she's right because she's been robbed. No clue that they came for her like that. But I guess she's probably thinking like because I know there was a part they said she pushed the pole out the car with her foot you know like no, this was it, and push the pole out the car with her foot. I didn't hear it, I didn't see or hear that part. um but if that's the case, that she showed them what they were being called for. And she's thinking like, okay, well, they took my money, they took my food, are you going to help me? All he wanted was her to get out the car. He wanted her. He wasn't there to help her. He wanted to apprehend her.
well, I want to go back to something that you said as well, because essentially, in your daughter's murder, the idea that the policeman was dragged was used as the
over and over and
justification for the
over.
shooting. So you did mention before that the officer seemed to actually sit in the car because I was watching
Mm,
his body cam too, and
hmm
it's
It
kind
goes
of interesting
black
to
or
hear him
something
giving you all
around
the
there.
angles. Oh, I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
Somewhere around, it goes black around there.
Okay. Yeah, it's just it's interesting that they didn't, because being a push start, if the goal was to stop the car, I would think the goal would be, let's first of all, before we drag the person out, we want to make sure, because they always say, please turn the car off. Please
Hmm
turn the ignition off. So if the goal is to turn the ignition off, either Perez from the left side either is going to reach in and he can push start, because it didn't look like he reached in to push start anything. It looked like she had
He
her
was
hands on the
trying to
steering wheel and he
grab
just
her.
grabbed
Yeah.
her wrist. So I would think that Carlton on the passenger side had clear access to just push the button to turn the car off first and foremost.
Yeah.
You would kind of
And
start
he could have done that when he jumped in the vehicle as well. He
exactly.
had a lot of choices himself. And his deposition claims he did not have his taser on his belt, but then they find a taser on the floor in my car. They, when I tell you these officers lied, oh my God, all the way through their depositions, they lied so bad. Lied
Well,
so
you
bad.
you beat me to the punch because I was going to ask you. My thought when I just looked at the whole story, I said to myself, why didn't they tase her if they wanted to incapacitate her in any fashion? Why didn't they just tase her? And I'm glad you said that because I was going to ask you, was there a taser there?
Yes, absolutely was. Um, there's one point in the deposition where my attorney asked him, "Does your gun ever make direct contact with her head?" And he says, "I don't remember. I don't recall." Sounds like that may have been the case. And then they like literally talked about my child like she was a stray cat. Um, when asked, did you try to give life saving measures to Alexis? They said, he go, no, she almost killed my partner. I had to get him out of the vehicle. I hurt my hand again, trying to help them remove her from the vehicle. No, because see, those things were recorded. He hurt his hand trying to, they were trying to lift the roof of the vehicle off of his partner. That's where he hurt his football injury again, trying to lift that roof. That side of the car wasn't smashed, but they pulled him through the back behind her and did not even, he said, well, I could see that she was slumped. But that's it. Like they didn't try to save her. They didn't even look at her, according to them. Not only that, but then mentions that they don't even what did they tell us, that they don't know how many times she was shot. He doesn't know how many times he shot the weapon, and Perez can't remember the name of the first man he killed.
Mm,
So, you know, if I am someone that has had to kill someone, whether line of duty or not, I think that with a conscience, that's going to weigh on me.
yeah,
I'm going to want to know more. You're not
absolutely.
curious at all about what the consequences of your actions. I mean, how do you pray to God to forgive you if you don't even know the man's name?
Absolutely.
Because you don't care about forgiveness. He doesn't. That's not something that he cares about. That man is evil. Like I said, I saw how he talked about my daughter in those other cases. He does not care. Does
Yeah,
not
it
care, and
doesn't
he
seem
lied
it
on
doesn't
everybody.
it doesn't seem like they did anything to de-escalate this at all. I mean, I think
And then
officers
wrote a report saying that he did.
that okay, so the report said they did
There's
try to
there is a
de-escalate.
report from the woman on the scene that says that he tried to de-escalate the situation.
Well, just for clarity, so we have the two officers, Carlton and Perez. There were two other officers outside of that on the scene, or was there
Yes.
more than that?
I know for sure too.
Okay, and one of them was a woman.
Yes.
Okay,
And the other was a sergeant, a white shirt,
okay.
whose body cam didn't work that night.
It's always conveniently doesn't work, right?
Right.
Or it turns off at the right time. That's what happens most of the time. So,
Right.
um, well, let me ask you about Alexis's boyfriend at the time. Like, what did he tell you as far as his vantage point? Because he was obviously there. What did he say?
Pretty much that, once they pulled up, the reason that Lexi was hitting on the window with the stick is because they told her that if she didn't take what they had, then she wasn't getting anything, and they didn't say it so nicely, you know. So he says she picked up and hit on the window with a stick, and then they were on their cell phones. I asked him at one point, "You got out the car and went around to the other side of the vehicle?" He said that was to give her phone back because everybody, the police and the what do you call restaurant owner was saying, "Oh, see, gun." I said, "No, cell phone," because I can see the light drop from her face. And then the kid gets out, goes on the other side, hands her cell phone, which I would have done too. I do know I was going out of town the next day. Both of us had gotten our nails done. So I know she's like, "Oh, I dropped my phone. Can you get it for me?"
Hmm.
Again, princessy. But that's how that goes. Can you get my
Yeah,
phone for me? So he
just
gets
regular
out, goes
stuff.
around, gets the phone, huh?
No, I was saying just regular stuff that
Yeah,
that someone would do. Yeah.
So, but they wanted to say that he was giving her a gun. Now, I don't know. I'm old school. I know you better not get out a gun and hand it to me.
I mean that's just stupid though. I mean who's going now this is
You better
when
not.
the police are on them. This is when the police are right there. So they're
No,
saying,
well, that was before they pulled up.
"Oh, so
That
he's
he
saying
had
he
gone.
went around to
And
hand
see,
her the."
if you watch, like Collins mentions that specifically. He does. He says that there's a point in time where the gentleman goes around the car to the other side and hands the young woman something. But that's what he was. That was it. It was her phone.
But the thing about it is that it's about common sense. So what do she need a gun for to
And
go
ain't
to?
nobody there.
She
Right.
didn't. She wasn't trying to commit a robbery. It wasn't a
They were just sitting
robbery. It
there.
was going to
Yeah.
pick up some food. So what does he need to go hand her a gun for? Like what?
You're right.
You know?
And this is during the calming period where they think they're waiting for their food.
Right.
So make it make sense. But anything that makes her look bad or criminalizes her is what they use. And that's what they did here. And just by inciting people with the idea that she was trying to kill cops is enough. Because I've been on shows like yours, I read the comments. I want to see how people um, think about it. Oh, it's been some nasty stuff.
Yeah.
Um, People definitely believe the police, no matter what they do or say, just because they have a tendency to do so, or they believe that the boys in blue are supposed to always be honest, but they're people and they're not. You
Absolutely.
know,
No, you
they
are.
lie just like others.
To your point though, Kara. I looked at the news footage and kind of I looked at the comments and I wanted to
Hmm.
see what people were saying. And you're right. When I look at the comments, I said, "Wow,
Comply or die. Um, you play stupid games, you get stupid tricks.
yeah,
She should have got out the car. What was she doing naked? you
yeah,
know, um,
yeah,
some of them accused her of being a whore. She was turning tricks, and So I looked at that, and that was the one of the major forces for me to start talking to people and getting the truth about what happened to her that night out there, because I'll be damned if you kill her and then you get to take her legacy too.
yeah, yeah."
You got the wrong one for that one.